Hello and a warm welcome to Friday's Granada Reports.
Hello there, on the programme this evening.
I mean, these stories are terrible, and I can completely understand the sense of exasperation and anger that people feel.
Bearing the brunt for Boris Johnson, Michael Gove in the region with words of sympathy for those obeying the rules while Downing Street partied.
Words which are no comfort to Carl, who lost his dad at the height of lockdown.
When they came out and clapped, they wasn't clapping. They might as well just came out and put two fingers up to the whole of the nation.
Horror at the Arndale. Security cameras capture the moment a man with a knife went on a rampage in Manchester's main shopping centre.
We're out on the water in Southport with the lifeboat crew here, and they're celebrating a very special new edition.
It's been a life-saving piece of equipment.
Ouch! Celebrities and an ice rink can only mean one thing: dancing on ice is back. We're live at the studios and talking to Corrie's Sally Dinover.
And it's not all bad weather-wise this weekend. There is a fog warning for tonight, but I'll have all the detail for the next few days a little later on.
Well, first tonight, you deserve the truth. The words of a senior Cabinet Minister, Michael Gove, on a visit to our region as revelations emerge of yet another Downing Street party.
Yes, the Levelling Up Minister says he completely understands the anger people feel, but the Prime Minister still has his backing.
Well, that's little comfort for Carl Nunnally. He had to grieve alone after his father died in a care home in Manchester.
And on the day Boris Johnson joined staff partying in the Downing Street Garden in May 2020, Carl rang the Samaritans for help.
Tonight, we are told another party was held in the Cabinet Office for an official in charge of drawing up the COVID-19 restrictions, which we were all told to follow.
Our correspondent Rob Smith has the very latest.
A hard hat's no shield against public anger, though some of Michael Gove's government colleagues may wish it was. The Secretary of State for Levelling Up was touring what will be Manchester's first new city park for more than a century. From mud will come a green space anyone can enjoy. But the green space at the back of number 10 was somewhere its staff enjoyed yet another lockdown party, this time minus the Prime Minister. It happened while the Queen mourned her husband hours before she sat alone social distancing at his funeral. The government has apologised. Mr Gove says further calls from politicians and members of the public for Boris Johnson's resignation shouldn't be heeded.
No. I mean, these stories are terrible, and I can completely understand the sense of exasperation and anger that people feel, completely. But we've got an investigation going on now. Lay out all those facts. Then if there is a specific need for disciplinary action or for responsibility to be taken, let's do that.
Waiting is all well and good, but what would you say to all of those people saying waiting is not good enough? They sacrificed in their lives, they lost loved ones, they were laying people to rest. What would you say to them?
I say you deserve the truth. I say that the most important thing is that there's a full account of what went on. Those of us in government are there to serve you. And lockdown was an incredibly difficult time.
Is your Prime Minister serving those people?
Yeah.
Mr Speaker, I want to apologise.
Mr Johnson's apology given to Parliament on Wednesday cut no ice with the family of a former care home resident.
My own lads.
James Keith Nunnally from Manchester was buried 5 days before the PM walked into that Bring Your Own Booze event in May 2020. His devastated son Carl, forced to mourn alone, turned to the Samaritans on the day of the party itself.
All these families, not just myself, going through these feelings and experiences all on their own because we was doing the right thing, because they asked us to. Don't forget that. This is the government that asked us to do their rules and protect one another. And they just laughed in our faces. When they came out and clapped, they wasn't clapping. They might as well just came out and put two fingers up to the whole of the nation.
Back on the building site, Manchester's city leader argues Partygate must be dealt with quickly. She says it isn't helping the fight against the virus.
I think he, like many others, do think he should resign. I think it's really straightforward because actually, as we come out of COVID, we face serious economic and health challenges for the future of this country, that actually there are much, much more serious things that we need to be talking about than the simply unacceptable behaviour of a few in number 10 last year and the year before.
Tonight, ministers are facing even more questions after the former head of the government's COVID task force, who drew up restrictions, apologised for her own drinks do. Rob Smith, ITV News, Manchester.
Well, we wanted to thank Carl there, speaking from the heart in Rob's report, and to everyone else who'd been in touch this week to share your memories and feelings about the events in Downing Street during the lockdown.
Yeah, we do really appreciate your views, especially in these particularly difficult times. So thank you for your comments, and please do keep them coming. We do really appreciate them. There is, of course, lots more of this story in the ITV News coming up straight after this.
Next, the shocking footage showing a man going on a rampage with a knife through Manchester's Arndale shopping centre.
People ran for safety or hid in shops as Raphael Chevelu ran amok in October 2019, stabbing 5 people. Manchester Crown Court heard he's been treated for schizophrenia at Ashworth High Security Hospital in Merseyside.
Our correspondent Mel Barham was in court, and some of the images in her report are distressing.
He's just stabbed one man as he runs towards his next victims. This, the terrifying moment a knifeman goes on a rampage through the Arndale. It's just after 11 on a Friday morning in October 2019. And in the space of just 1 minute and 27 seconds, Raphael Chevelu has stabbed 5 victims and caused widespread fear and panic.
And just heard loads of people running and screaming. Literally just running, like just pure panic from everyone.
Screaming and crying. Like I think she was like bleeding or something because she was like holding her chest or something.
Everyone was petrified. It was just
a panic.
Earlier that morning, Chevelu had walked into a shop in Blakely and calmly bought a kitchen knife for £1.50. He's caught on CCTV catching a bus into the city centre and entering the Arndale. The footage shows him going into a baby change area where he disposes of the knife's packaging. Minutes later, with no warning, he randomly targets his first victim. The man in his 50s can be seen dropping to his knees as he's stabbed several times in the back and hand. Breaking into a run and wielding the knife, he heads towards his next victim, stabbing her before taking a swipe at a mum pushing her baby in a pram. As shoppers scream for people to run, he attacks his 4th victim in a cafe, stabbing her again and again, before making his way to one of the exits. As he pushes past terrified shoppers, he lunges at his 5th victim. The court heard she only escaped more serious injuries because of the layers of clothing she was wearing. More CCTV outside shows him dumping the knife in a bin by the exit. Moments later, he's detained by police. The court was told how the offender was seen grinning with a wide, cheesy smile before he stabbed one of his victims. Another said he thought he was going to die. The youngest victim, who was just 19 at the time, had never been to Manchester before. She'd only just flown in from Ireland. In a victim impact statement, she says she's never been the same since and is still grieving for the person she once was. Although the case was originally investigated by terror police, the court heard Chevelu had been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. He pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing to 3 counts of wounding with intent and 2 counts of attempted wounding. He's due to be sentenced on Monday. Mel Barham, ITV News, Manchester Crown Court.
Well, next this evening, and you might be surprised to hear that the coastal town of Southport, which attracts thousands of visitors every year, doesn't have an RNLI lifeboat station.
Surprising, isn't it? But there is a lifeboat and a crew, and they're celebrating tonight thanks to the support of one very special fundraiser. Our reporter Victoria Grimes has more.
Every day for more than 30 years, Southport Lifeboat have been on call around the clock for those in trouble or lost at sea on one of the most perilous coastlines in the UK. It's run entirely by volunteers, like coxswain Nick Porter.
We're what's known as an independent lifeboat station. There's many of us around the country, there's many in the region as well. We're not part of the RNLI, which means we have to raise our own money. My family have been involved since day one. So Keith come down, he's my uncle, he joined the crew soon after he dragged my dad into it, and I have memories of being in the old lifeboat station when I was a toddler, helping brush up, helping wash off. So it was sort of in my blood that I was going to join. I joined on my 16th birthday.
You must be scared sometimes with it, especially when the conditions are quite treacherous out here.
There are scary moments, but I have to look after the crew I've got with me, so I don't normally show that side.
The RNLI pulled out of Southport in 1925. It was to be 62 years before the town got its own rescue service, mainly thanks to the tireless determination of one lady who lost her own son at sea. Kath Wilson's son Geoffrey died in 1987 after a boat trip went horribly wrong. He was just 18.
Geoffrey had been missing over 24 hours before his body was found. He was swept up at Blackpool Beach. It was heartbreaking because I felt that things had been different. He wouldn't have been there on that day if there'd have been a lifeboat. So I decided there and then to start a fund off to get our own lifeboat.
Much of the money's come from a charity shop Kath started 17 years ago. It's grown from just one room to a huge operation. She's now raised more than £1 million, enough to build a brand new lifeboat station.
My one ambition was to build this lifeboat house. And finally it's here. And I can't tell you how pleased I was when I went past and see it all set up. I just sat in the parking bay and cried.
Why did you cry?
Brought it all back to me. How we started it because of Jeff. And the fact that hopefully nobody will lose a life. I always get a message off them. They always ring me up and tell me when they've been out. And it gets that lump in your throat, especially when they know that they've done good and they've saved someone, or they've all rushed from their jobs to go out, left the families at home to go and do it, to risk their own lives, to help others.
Well, over the last 30 years, the crew here have saved countless lives and brought more than 400 people to safety. Now, it's quite mild today. The water's not too choppy at all. The sun's been shining, but sometimes those conditions can be very, very different.
The new station replaces the old one built in the 1800s. There wasn't even heating. For the crews, it'll make a huge difference.
It's not warm. We're both here with our hands saying how cold our hands are, but it's so to have that, to be able to...
to go back and be able to warm up is just, going to be brilliant.
We operated in the old place for 33 years. No facilities, no toilets, no running water at first. And now we're spoilt really with hot water and a kitchen.
When they stripped the clothes off to get the rubber suits on, the clothes were all packed in the damp, no washing facilities or toilets. So you basically didn't drink too much tea before you went. It's no problem now, I can drink myself to death.
Kath's the reason we're all here. It was her idea in the first place to start the service, and we're able to come out here with the best equipment we can buy and provide the best service we can.
I mean, really, the lifeboat belongs to the people of Southport. They're the ones that's donated the money, come in and bought stuff, brought all the goods in. So really, it does belong to the people of Southport, not me.
Well, we are here tonight at that brand new Southport lifeboat station. Here it is. It's a magnificent building. And one or two people from the lifeboat family have turned out to see it. Isn't it lovely? Because you guys really are a family here, aren't you? Keith, we saw you in my report a little bit earlier then. But it's a family because everyone I've met here is a porter like you, pretty much, it feels.
Porters and Heskeths and Shawcrofts, and there's a lot of family involvement,
Yeah, which is so lovely to see. I mean, I can see Nick over there. I can see Lucy, who's your niece, I think. Is that right?
Lucy's my daughter.
Who's your daughter? See, I can't keep up. I can't keep up. We've got John over there, who can now have as many cups of tea as he likes because he's got toilets to go to. We saw him in the report as well. And lots of the younger members who are going to be taken over in the future, like Ronnie, Keith's son as well. Can you see yourself getting involved when you're a bit older?
Yeah.
You can. What's the best thing about this place, would you say?
Probably the size of it.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's huge. Yeah. What's it going to mean to everybody?
It's just a nicer place to be. There's heating, hot showers and things, and we're able to fit all the equipment inside, whereas previously it was stored outside.
Yeah. And just back, I mean, it was a mild day yesterday when we were filming with you and I was out on the boat with you, but it was freezing, and to think of you guys coming back in and not having anywhere to dry your kit after that, it's just...
We're used to washing off under the hosepipe. Now we get in the shower, it takes me getting used to it.
Yeah, and I'm very glad you didn't make me get hosed off yesterday. Goodness me. And the lady who's made this possible is, of course, Kath, who we saw in the piece earlier. Kath, how do you feel when you see everyone here and so happy to see it?
Wonderful. It's absolutely marvellous to see it finished.
And you've got Jeffrey with you, your grandson.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, what do you think?
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And he's got, let me see your little top here. Let's have a look at your little top. See, look at that. Mini crew, it says. Mini crew. And Patrick's here as well today, who was with your son, Jeffrey, that night. You were out on the boat with him, Patrick.
That's right, yes.
She's done so much, hasn't she?
Oh, she has. Unbelievable.
An amazing lady. Well, Kath, there is one little surprise for you tonight that Keith's going to tell you about now.
Well, I think there's so many people who can be thanked for this building, but nobody more so than you, Kath. And everybody here has decided that we'd like to dedicate the building to you and to Jeffrey and
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
How do you feel?
I can't. Speechless.
Speechless.
That's unlike you.
I know, I've only known you for a couple of days, and I know that's not like you, to be speechless.
It's marvellous.
Beautiful.
It's wonderful.
Well, everyone here, Kath, is so grateful to you, and all the people of Southport as well. A round of applause for Kath, I think. Back to you guys now, the studio.
Absolutely richly deserved. A wonderful, fitting naming there. Wonderful to see.
Lovely, lovely story, and great to see the young generation of lifesavers there too. Superb. On to sport now.
Now to Britain's most successful ever Winter Paralympian, who is bidding to defend her title. Visually impaired skier Menna Fitzpatrick from Macclesfield won gold, 2 silvers and a bronze at the last Games in 2018. Now she wants more medals in the Winter Paralympics in Beijing next month. But first, she's going for glory in the World Championships. She took time off the slopes to speak to David Chisnell.
Menna Fitzpatrick is Britain's most successful ever Winter Paralympian, winning 4 medals as a teenager at the last Games in South Korea. But after coming away from Pyeongchang in 2018 with 1 gold, 2 silvers and a bronze, the Macclesfield skier knows the pressure is on going into Beijing in 49 days' time.
Yeah, I have made it kind of difficult for myself, for sure. Lots of things changed over the last few years and made life difficult. So again, I'm just going to go try and do what I know what to do and go and try my best, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the outcome is good.
Well, of all the challenges and changes for Menna, the biggest is no longer competing alongside her guide and good friend Jen Kehoe, who retired from competing to focus on her career in the army.
It was quite sad for the both of us, because we knew our racing time together was over. At that moment, I didn't actually know who my guide was going to be. So it was a pretty terrifying and an unnerving few months. And then the team said, oh, we've got this girl called Katie. She's a great guide, so she kind of makes it as easy as possible for me.
With just 3% vision, these specially adapted ski goggles show what Menna sees. Travelling at speeds of up to 60 miles down a slope has its dangers, and just before lockdown, the 23-year-old broke her tibia racing at the British Championships.
I ended up going through the finish line and losing a ski over the finish line and ended up breaking my leg. That meant spending the whole of lockdown on crutches.
Menna's had plenty of disruption in the run-up to these Winter Paralympics, and she's taking precautions to make sure COVID isn't another.
I am double vaccinated and had a booster. To even get to the Games and to travel these days, you really do need to have one to try and prevent positive cases spreading throughout the athletes, because that's the last thing you want when you're out in China, to have to self-isolate in a ward somewhere.
Her many medals already make Menna Britain's best Winter Paralympian, but winning more would be extra special.
I know how cheesy it sounds, but it would mean everything to me, and it proves to myself that it wasn't just a one-off. If we do win, it would definitely be one of the proudest moments.
Well, that would also be a proud moment for her family, who'll be cheering her on from home with overseas spectators banned from these games. Nena has the biggest 3 months of her life ahead of her, as before Beijing she's out in Norway at the World Championships, as she tries to add to her already impressive medal collection. David Chisnell, ITV News.
Wow, Menna Fitzpatrick. I tell you what, her medals are made of gold, silver and bronze, but her nerves are made of steel, aren't
Absolutely, especially when you see what she can see. Incredible.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Next, and I think it's fair to say we all need a bit of cheering up this weekend, so we've got something for you.
Yeah, Dancing on Ice is back on our screens on Sunday evening for its 14th year, with, of course, some very famous faces taken to the rink.
Yes, joining the star-studded cast are a couple of big names from our region, and if you're a fan of Corrie or Happy Mondays, or both, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, contestants have been getting in some last-minute training at the studios in Hertfordshire. Caroline Whitmore is there.
Yes, thanks you two. We are here in the Dancing on Ice studio in the heart of Hertfordshire. Not easy to say, let me tell you. And that's because Dancing on Ice starts on our screens this Sunday at 6:30. Of course, presented by Philip Schofield, Holly Willoughby. The ice panel has been mixed up a little bit this year, so we've got a brand new ice panel. There's Torval and Dean, of course, like last year, and Ashley Banjo. But joining the panel this year is Oti Mabuse, professional dancer. Now, there are 12 brand new celebrities who are going to be taking to that ice like Bambi, and 2 of those celebrities are flying the flag for the Northwest. Coronation Street legend Sally Dinover and Happy Mondays dancer Bez. Here they are in action.
I feel like Frank Spencer on ice. My helmet has been a life-saving piece of equipment.
Live television, ice skating, really?
Oh my God, I'm ice skating with you.
I'm ice skating with you.
The pressure is really on.
Well, I've now managed to stay here. We're at the training ring, joined by Coronation Street legend Sally Dinover, Happy Mondays legend Bez, and Dancing on Ice legend Daniel Whiston! Sally, I just had a little sneak peek at what you're dancing to on Sunday, and you're so elegant.
Oh, well, you're very kind, Caroline.
Do you feel like an ice skater now on the ice?
Well, I wouldn't say I feel like an ice skater, but I'm really enjoying every second of it. It's so much fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. Yeah, it's great.
And you're also holding down a full-time job. You're playing Sally on Coronation Street. What's harder? Is it the juggle or is it the learning the new skill?
I think the juggle was hard, but I've finished for a couple of weeks now, so I've got 2 solid weeks where I can just work on Dancing on Ice and try and get my skills a little bit better. But yeah, that's been tricky, but it looks so easy when the professionals do it. And then when we try and do it, it's like, how do they do that? So,
I think you look pretty good though, Sally, honestly.
Well, that's very kind.
One of my favourite songs as well. But coming to you, Bez.
How are you?
You know, you've swapped your maracas for a helmet, haven't you?
You know, I actually need the helmet this very moment because I've not quite mastered being graceful on ice for some weird reason. I don't know why.
I've just got a sneaky peek of your song as well. Are you enjoying it, Bez? You look like you're having a right blast.
You know what? It's been such good fun doing the training. I can't wait to get up to do the training, working with a great set of people, great set of professionals, trainers. You couldn't get looked after any better. And I've had such a great experience leading up to the big night on Sunday. Tune in, 6:30, be there.
Now, Dad, you're now Associate Creative Director. You've won it 3 times. Have we got a Northwest winner this year?
I think we might just have. I mean, you've not seen action like it until you've seen Bez's maraca action on ice. I don't want to give too much away, but these guys are looking amazing. And like these guys say, it's so out of their comfort zone and they're doing so good, so I'm dead excited to see what they can turn out on Sunday.
We can't wait to see it. And shall we have a look at him in action now?
Who, what?
Yeah, you.
What?
Come on, Dad. Go on. Here we go. Yeah, come on, we're clapping. Woo! Brilliant. Are you going to do that now, Bez?
Come on, Bez. Come on, Bez. Oh, you missed it. You blinked.
Catch Dancing on Ice this Sunday at 6:30 with these lot. Back to you.
I can't wait. Looks fantastic.
I don't think it's going to take long at all before Bez can do that 12. I'm giving him a couple of weeks. Good luck to all the competitors there, especially the Northwest contingent.
Let's hope it's not icy this weekend. Here's Kerry.
Now that is brew weather.
And only boiling what she needs.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Big up you, sis.
Hello, very good evening to you. It's not too bad as we head into the weekend. There will be some mist and fog around at times. There's definitely some sunshine in the mix, but also quite a lot of cloud developing for the middle part of the weekend. In the shorter term overnight tonight, frost and some stubborn fog patches. There is a weather warning for parts of Cheshire until 11 a.m. tomorrow. It will cloud up during the day tomorrow. Then we'll see a weak system coming through very early Sunday before brightening again. Essentially, high pressure is in charge. You can see this weak system coming through later tomorrow from the northwest, but behind it another area of high pressure building, and that's likely to stay over us or nearby for much of the week ahead. So overnight tonight, any stubborn cloud we've seen in the north of the region today travelling northwards. So for most of us, away from the Isle of Man where there will be a little bit more cloud, it's largely clear and cold with frost and yes, some fog patches which will be fairly dense, particularly down into parts of Derbyshire and Cheshire as we head into the early hours. Great sunset last night with the Starlings at North Pier in Blackpool. Big thank you to Stephen Cheatley for sharing the shots. And as we head into tomorrow, yes, some stubborn fog patches, yes, a chilly start, frosty start, nothing unusual for the time of year, and there will be some sunshine for the middle part of the day. Bit of a question mark about how quickly the cloud will fill in, but the weather front does work its way down during tomorrow night, certainly, generating a bit more in the way of cloud. It will clear southwards as we head into Sunday, and actually the second half of Sunday doesn't look too bad. Bit of a breeze, but drier and brighter, with highs around average. That's the story over the next few days. And then Monday and most of Tuesday, mostly dry. Have a lovely weekend.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
2 sugars, please.
Oh, lovely.
Thanks, Kerry. No ice in that forecast. Still reeling from Bez, though, are you?
He's going to be very good. They all are. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.